Thanks for joining us today on the program. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Listen, lots of things to think about coming up here in the near future. We're looking forward to a Trump administration. I'm going to tell you in depth about what he's going to do the first 100 days, the projects that he's going to assign, who's going to do them, what will be the objective. Elon Musk is in the mix, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and General Michael Flynn. What will their tasks be? Also, we're going to talk about September 18th again. We cannot forget this important date coming up here in a couple of weeks as we prepare to brace ourselves for what may happen up in New York in the kangaroo court. It's a sentencing date, but it will not impede the ultimate topic of the day. Trump, next administration, what will they do? Ladies and gentlemen, the right side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, everybody. My name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right side with Doug Billings, right side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to the Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello there. Hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend and that you've survived the cascade of nonsense coming from the radical left camp of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. You are not alone when you see the nonsense that continues to come by for them. It's manufactured, fake, non-existent, non-organic. And but I hope it didn't interfere too much with your weekend. It is ridiculous what they're putting forth. I want to talk to you today about what's coming up in the next several months with regards to Trump and his campaign. I mentioned to you last week, we have every reason to believe and know when you look at the real data that's out there that President Trump is trending and people in America are trending towards him. It's without question. In Iowa, Trump leads by almost 20 points, ladies and gentlemen, Iowa. Now, hang on a minute before you laugh at flyover country. I'm coming to you from right smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain. So hang on just a second. Don't laugh Iowa off. And then you look at Ohio. They're trending Trump up by 12 points in Ohio. So when you look at Iowa and Ohio, as they go as states during election years, historically speaking, also following suit would be Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. So as Iowa and Ohio go, so does Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. And I'm telling you, if Trump is up by 20 points in Iowa and 12 in Ohio, there's no way that he's behind in Pennsylvania. Three battleground states right there. And if Trump wins just one of those states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, just one, he's in the White House, ladies and gentlemen. The Electoral College, the left loves it when I bring up the Electoral College. Oh, they can't stand the Electoral College. And it's not a laughing matter, really, because they want to eliminate it. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this to you before, the radical left communist-socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, wants to fundamentally transform America away from the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers. And one of the ways that they want to do this is to eliminate the Electoral College. And look, you cannot be an American patriot and believe that America needs to be fundamentally transformed. You cannot be an American patriot and believe that the Electoral College, one of the most brilliant, it is one of the most amazingly brilliant systems in human history to present and provide for a fair election where all voices have equal weight. They want to eliminate it. So when I bring up the Electoral College, like I'm doing now, their heads explode. But the Electoral College, as it stands today, has President Trump up with a chance to win the presidency, 56% to Kamala Harris, 44%. That's where the battle is, and that's where it will be won. And it's because of your efforts at the local level that we're in this position, folks. So don't take that lightly. Thanks to you, we are here, and we have great hope looking us right in the eye. There's no doubt that America is trending towards Trump. All of the radical left news media, the legacy media that you see on television, if you see people posting things on social media, that is all manufactured. It's demanded loyalty coming down from the radical left, communist-socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party hierarchy. They are demanding it. If they get on phone calls, they get on Skype calls and Zoom calls every week with all of these people in the media and their paid pundits on social media. And they demand enthusiasm and action, enthusiasm and hope, and it cascades down upon us. And they put forth fake polls that don't have sound methodology and that are laden with response bias. I've mentioned that to you before. I won't belabor that point, but realize and understand that what we see with Trump is organic and it's real. And what represents the movement really beyond, I mean, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and so forth, Elon Musk, who I'm going to talk about this later in the program, the roles and responsibilities of these people in the next Trump administration. But it's an illustration of when you see people like Kennedy and Gabbard and Musk, who are lifelong Democrats, come over to our side, evidence of the obvious becomes obvious. That Democrats across this country, not just the big name tier 1 level Democrats, but John and Jane Doe on the streets of America, they're doing the same thing. They see America, they see where it's headed, and they see especially what this communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, wants to transform America into. And they're realizing, correctly so, that even though they may have voted for Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, this is not what they have in mind. These people, they're saying it across the country. This isn't what I have in mind. I am not going to vote for this again, at least not this election cycle. I'm going for Trump. And they might have to close their eyes and hold their nose if they don't like Trump personally. But they're going to do it because they love America more than they hate Trump. And that's the hope. That's the it's uncovered. It is not discussed. It is not part of what the legacy media's lexicon is. That's not part of their rubric. They don't talk about this, but it is the truth. And you can sense this because you're the most intellectually mature audience in all of podcast land. Those of you who listen to this show, you get it and you understand and you feel the same way, But we also can't forget that we do have an important date coming up. And I spoke about this last week. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but it's worth remembering and it's worth bracing ourselves for because this is September now. And on September 18th, you need to mark your calendars for that date. That's the date that sentencing is scheduled in New York for the kangaroo court verdict that was won by Alvin Bragg. You know all about this. The judge up there, John Juan Merchan, is set to deliver the sentencing on September 18th. Both Alvin Bragg and Judge Merchan are part of the radical, liberal, communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. And think just a moment about that. They are radicalized liberals, both of those gentlemen. How many of you out there believe that at this point in the game, having Trump in this position and having persecuted him since literally the day he came down the golden escalator at Trump Tower, how many of you believe that they're going to just simply stop? Remember, when he came down that escalator, immediately the resist movement was born. He's not a legitimate guy. He's not going to be our president. The fabricated Russia collusion scandal was beginning to take form and in shape, and people began to put that forth. Also, remember the phone call with Zelensky? Trump called it the perfect phone call, and it was. He gets lambasted for that. The Steele dossier, the nonsensical impeachments that came his way after he won, the Mar-a-Lago files, the kangaroo court in New York, all of it, all of the lawfare that's been waged against him. I mean, we could go on for 20 minutes talking about each of those cases. How many of you believe that the radical left hierarchy, the people who are actually running the show, are going to allow Judge Merchan to deliver anything other than a jail sentence? Clearly, they're not going to settle for anything less than that. They will not stop. The only question remaining after that is, will the judge grant bail upon that certain immediate appeal that's going to come down from the Trump camp, right? Will President Trump be placed in handcuffs, let out of the courtroom? Will he be forced to sit in a holding pen in the county jail for any length of time? Will there be pictures taken of him? Or will he be granted immediate release pending his appeal, on bail and bond? If it were anybody else in the world, the answer to those questions, that question would be yes. Of course, he'd be granted bail, bond, and released on his own recognizance before, pending the appeal. But I can tell you, my friends, look, with certainty, President Trump and his team are preparing for the worst case scenario. That is to say, they're preparing to continue the campaign despite a potential jail sentence. Now, this is not going to be a jail sentence that goes on for a year. It's not going to be a jail sentence that goes on for a month. Even if he has to sit in jail for a day, that would be what the radical liberals want. They want history to document that. He'd retain his Secret Service. He would still be on all of the ballots in all of the states. His campaign, quote unquote, wouldn't be necessarily derailed. And I want to set the stage here regarding this, because President Trump's future and September 18th is obvious. They're obviously connected here. We have to talk about this. No one I see out there, not even those people on our side, are really giving this a lot of attention. I think this causes a lot of things to race through people's minds. Some people question the strategy of that. They question me, thinking that, hey, this is the case. Billings, you're nuts. They're not going to do it. It would be strategically stupid for the radical left to seek a jail sentence for President Trump, because it would be something that would catapult President Trump into superstardom, political martyrdom, right? And why would they do it? It would seal his victory. I don't think they're going to do it, Doug. And as such, some doubt that the radical left would really go to that extreme to sentence him to jail. Folks, the radical left has always, and words are important, they've always pursued the most extreme results possible with regards to their persecution of Trump. They want Trump to be labeled a convicted felon. Look at all of the mileage they're getting out of that. And it's a temporary thing. The convictions will be overturned. But look how much, that's all they say. He's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon. Why would you vote for a convicted felon? Would you want your children to grow up knowing that you voted for a convicted felon? All of it. All of that stuff, time and time again, a lot of mileage out of that. They want Trump to be labeled as a sentenced criminal. And they want history, as I said, to reflect all of that. So while it's unlikely that he's going to see any lengthy time in jail, I think it's very true that a jail sentence will be given. And they want that to memorialize Trump and catapult their view of that into, just further repeating. He's been convicted and now he's been sentenced to jail, even if he only spends an hour in there while they work out the bond and the bail situation, right? So that's what they want. I don't see them stopping. Why would they? Remember, the radical liberal commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is more concerned about damaging President Trump, ruining him financially, smearing his reputation, than they are of his potential increase in the public eye as a potential political martyr. They know that might be part of it, but they're more focused and more desirous of having him sentenced. They want it, if nothing else, but for the sheer value of being able to say those words. Convicted felon, sentenced criminal. That's what they want. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot to say about this, and believe it or not, a lot of hope when we come back about the next Trump administration, why America is trending towards him, and why we have hope here. Don't forget DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen. I always remind you, we have all of our the ability to support the show over there. I never charge you for it. Please prayerfully consider heading over to DougBillings.us and making a monthly recurring donation over there. Please consider. It's how I produce the show and deliver it to you for free. Just prayerfully consider, what is the truth worth to you? DougBillings.us. All right, I'll be right back after this break. Stay with me. Cheers. Hi, everybody. Well, here I am on the set of my show, The Right Side. This is where it all happens. This is where you and I meet shoulder to shoulder to try to retrieve the Republic away from the grip of the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. And it's where the people who watch and listen to this program become the most intellectually mature members in all of podcast land, my friends. Hey, DougBillings.us is my website. I have a favor. You know, I never charge you for this show. I'd like you to prayerfully consider heading over to DougBillings.us and click on the donate tab to set up a recurring monthly donation. It's how I produce the show. I don't ever charge you for this show. So what is the truth? What is the analysis of the real state of play in America and around the world worth to you? 5, 10, 20, 100, 200 bucks a month, whatever you can offer. This is how I produce the show. It's just me over here. There's no huge organization. I'm not monetized on social media. I am a crowd-funded show, and I am actively seeking sponsors. I would love for you to be one. DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen. Prayerfully consider it. God bless you. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show. Coming to you, as I always do, from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain. And I want to talk to you about EMP, electromagnetic pulse. Now, these things can happen from the sun in nature and naturally, but they can also happen through man-made devices made by people who don't like us very much. And thanks to Kamala Harris, our failed border czar, we've got millions of people in this country who don't like us. Thank you very much, Kamala. Well, EMP Shield is a device like this one here that hooks up to your breaker box in your home, and it prevents your home and your electrical system from being fried in case of an electromagnetic pulse. There's a smaller version that you can put on the battery of your vehicle, so it is also protected. So head over to empshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen, empshield.com, promo code Doug. Believe it, for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Doug Billings, driving the left crazy with the truth.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so continuing on, the radical left is so possessed with hatred for President Trump that they're going to pursue the sentencing on September 18th. The hierarchy of the radical left Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, has given orders to Judge Merchan. If you don't think that's true, you're not thinking clearly. They have ordered Merchan to pass down a sentencing to President Trump on September 18th. Again, that part I know. I don't know what it will entail as far as length of time, if it will be a day, an hour, whatever, because Trump's team will obviously automatically appeal the sentencing. And if it were anybody else, they would be granted bail. And so we'll see what happens with the length of time served and what imagery will be revealed to us on the 18th, what kind of pictures and video will be taken. But this is their hatred for the man. And I know, and I hear you, those of you who are saying that's bad strategy because that's going to catapult Trump to political martyrdom and it's going to cause millions of people to realize the ridiculous. I know, but that's how much they hate him. They're more concerned about getting the term convicted felon, sentenced criminal than they are about the effect potentially on the boosting of his campaign and in the polls. So they want to destroy him. They want to besmirch him. They want to slander him more than anything else. And that's the way it is. And again, I just ask you to reflect. Look what they've done to the guy since 2016. Look at everything. And you and I, if we sat down on a phone call or got on X and did a Spaces together, we could talk for an hour or two about all of the things, all of the lawfare that they have waged against this man. So I am of the opinion that they will not stop until they get this sentencing that they want on September 18th. I mean, look how much time they've spent on it. Convicted felon. Again, every time you look around on any social media platform, anything that we say about Trump, they counter it with the convicted felon nonsense. Even though they know that every charge, every conviction that has come down upon President Trump will be overturned or thrown out, either in the lower courts or by the Supreme Court. Everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you that much is true as well. All of this will be thrown away or overturned, thrown out or overturned. Every bit of it. Every bit of it. This thing going on in New York that's going to be, sentencing on September 18th, that's the most ridiculous of all of the cases that have been filed against him. The radical left knows all of this, but still they want to pursue every possible avenue to destroy and slander Trump. And in their mind, a conviction and now a sentencing to jail will be a big part of that. So they are absolutely possessed by hatred for President Trump. You can count on that. Now that we've talked about all of that, here's the hope. Because Trump is going to be in the White House, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to talk a little bit about his next administration. He's going to win. I know that we have residual fear of 2020 and a repeat performance, right, about election integrity issues, right? There are still people out there who are saying to themselves, I'm not going to vote because I believe it's all a rigged system. And let me just, again, before I get into the hope, I want to address these people. There's not as many of them now as there was in 2020. But for anyone who ever said, 2020 or bust, we've got to fix 2020 before we move on. I know that their intentions were good. But to continue to hang on to that and say, as they did, I'm not going to vote in a rigged system, my friends, with all due respect to those people, with all the gentleness that I can muster up, those are the comments of a snowflake. Those are the comments of a non-patriot. Patriots never give up their rights to vote. Patriots never give up any right. Because why? Because two reasons. One, primarily, all of our rights come to us from God. We do not honor God when we give up our rights. So to say, I'm not going to vote, it's a rigged system, beyond being a snowflake comment. That's a comment that does not honor God. Secondly, it also does not honor our military, who have often gone to the battlefield and died to protect our rights that come to us from God. So we do not honor God. We do not honor the military when we become snowflakes and say and proclaim, I'm not going to vote because I think it's rigged. I mean, think about that. What a crybaby statement to make. Now, look, I welcome everybody back who made the statement, but sometimes you need to really just call things out. The same kind of things happened with regards to what people said throughout and between 2020 and recently that took people off of the battlefield. Trump's going to come back into office before 2024, Doug. Don't worry. The military's in charge. He put in place executive orders. There's this thing called devolution, Doug, and it's a real plan. Trump's going to come back into office. The 17th letter of the alphabet and that nonsense. We have got our fight for this republic has to be in reality, not in Kookville. And you need to shake those people and wake them up. Now, I am not saying that the people who believed in all that, we should shun them away. They are in their hearts well-intended, but they've been misled to an incredible degree. And we welcome them back, but we've got to welcome them back in reality. Step off of the ledge of Kookville and come back into the room of reality, please. It is not a movie. We're not sitting here eating popcorn. This is real life. And we do not win when we believe in myths. The military's running the country. President Trump is really the president. He's calling all the shots. Sit back and watch the movie. The 17th letter said this: Devolution, all of it is nonsense, and beware of the people who put it forth. Clickbait and grifters. We have been paralyzed too much, and we know too much now to put up with that. It takes people off the battlefield. What is the battlefield? The battlefield is your local county within the state that you live, and it's your involvement in your political process there. In any way that you can, look at the voter registration rolls. Try to get involved to correct them, to update them. Door knock in order to do so. Become a member of your school board. Look at your Republican committeemen and women spots. There's over 170,000 vacant Republican committeemen and women spots throughout this republic. That's unacceptable. Get involved. This is why the left won. You'll notice that they didn't win by putting forth myth. They didn't win by saying the military's in charge and, the second letter of the alphabet, you've got the 17th, we're going to take the second, whatever. Not. They came into power because people on their side got involved in their local levels, and we did not. And that is the hard truth that we have to admit. We were caught off guard. Now, we have done great things as conservatives. We've done great things. We have raised families with American Christian values, and we've gone to great wars and we've won them, but we have not been involved. This is where we need to focus. So get involved. We don't have much time. Be a poll watcher. Either volunteer or seek out the training to become a paid poll watcher in your local voting locations. Keep an eye on the possibility of, the toilet bowl pipe broke and we've got to close the building down now and usher everybody. Keep an eye on that nonsense. And this is the reason why I'm at least more hopeful now, because so many of us are awake to the nonsense that we know what to look for, and that we're going to keep an eye on this election in 2024 here in a few weeks, right? And when you think about it, we are just a few weeks away, a couple of handfuls of weeks, and the election is upon us. We understand, we know what we are charged with, what we must do, and we will prevail, ladies and gentlemen. So Trump's going to, I'm just putting it out there. Trump will win, and he's going to tap several people for key roles in his administration. And so I want to go through this with you because for me, it's interesting. And I think it gives us hope that's based in reality. Okay, so in no particular order, let me go through some people and some roles and responsibilities that they're going to have in the next Trump administration. I want to make sure that I have time to do this. And as I look at the clock, I'm just shy of going up against a break. So let me do this. Let me tell you about an event that I have coming up. Now, we originally had September 27th and 28th pegged for a Determined Patriotism Conference, but we had to make some changes. And so now we've bumped it to December 13th and 14th. So Logan is showing you the website there. Everything is, you see, except for the date, is correct. Just note that it's December 13th and 14th. We're going to have the website updated in a day or two. But you can still buy tickets there, determinedpatriotismconference.com. Speakers, tier 1 people that are going to be joining us to talk about how we reclaim the Republic. And hopefully, since it's going to be in December, this will be a celebration of a victory for President Trump. And we're going to there's some surprise guests that we're working on coming to Branson, Missouri. By the way, it is in Branson, Missouri, the middle of the country. During Christmas time, it's absolutely gorgeous in Branson. They decorate. I mean, it's like a Norman Rockwell painting. That's what it's like. And it's just beautiful. We're going to go to entertainment. We're going to go to a Branson show on Friday night, and then we'll have dinner together on Saturday night. So it's a Friday, Saturday, December 13th and 14th. Branson, Missouri. We'll get the website updated, but I wanted to mention it to you before we head into a break here. And I'll come back from the break, and I'm going to lay out for you President Trump's administration with key individuals and what their roles and responsibilities will be. I think that this will give you hope based in reality, and you'll find it, I think, quite amazing. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back. Cheers.
Worldview Tube is your place for breaking news and current events. Stay up to date on news that actually affects you. We cover all the bases: politics, economics, current events, Bible teaching, and more. We have reporters all over the world, from America to the UK and Israel. Get the latest updates on the war in the Middle East with on-ground reports from our reporter, Aaron Lavarco. Stay informed on everything politics with our host, Roger Stone. Learn how everything going on today relates right back to the Bible with Brandon House's Bible study on Sunday nights. Stay up to date with the latest breaking news and stories every night on our primetime show, Brandon House Live. Watch our old school 30-minute straight news show every night from 7 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time to get the news you won't hear anywhere else. We are the ultimate uncensored, uncontrolled news source with over 30 years in business. Check out our website and all of our other platforms and apps for free at worldviewtube.com.
Hi, everybody. Your old friend Doug Billings here, coming to you from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain. Mike Lindell, a friend of mine. Mike has come to all of the conferences, the Determined Patriotism conferences that I've given across the country, and I want to help him out too, him and his employees. In the face of all that he's been through, they have tried to cancel him yet again, ladies and gentlemen. MyPillow.com, promo code Billings. For everything you need, from pillows to sheets to towels, even a dog bed. I've got my son Michael's dog, who's a service dog, a yellow lab, great dog named Jet. Jet has 2 pet beds, one upstairs, one downstairs. He's loving life. They're the best dog beds in the world. The sheets are the best, towels. I mean, the mattress topper. Check out the mattress topper. It's like sleeping on a brand new mattress. I'm not kidding you. MyPillow.com, promo code Billings, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it, for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
The Right Side with Doug Billings, where we meet in determined prayer and determined patriotism.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so here is what I really want to talk about today, the next Trump administration. We're putting it out there. President Trump is going to win. We're not being complacent. We know that we have a lot of work to do. We've talked all about that. But look, when we look at what he's needing to do, what he wants to do, and so what I'm about to tell you is based partly on conversations I've had with these people and my own intuition and my own gut feeling and opinion about how I see this all playing out and what based on what they've already said. Okay, so those things, what I've been in discussions with these people about and what I've seen them say in public. Okay, so in no particular order, let me tell you about people and their roles in this next administration. First, my friend, General Michael Flynn. Flynn, look, first of all, let me say this. A lot of you were hoping that he would be named Trump's vice president. General Michael Flynn is much too important to be the vice president. No slam against J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, we're going to talk about him in a minute, has his own role to play with regards to being potentially the standard bearer for 2028 and 2032. So I'll get to him in a minute. I'm not slamming him when I say that General Flynn is too important for that role. General Flynn is all, and I've spoken with Flynn about all of this. So nothing I'm saying here is anything that I wouldn't say to him. I've already mentioned this to Flynn. So Flynn's also too old to be the vice. We need someone in there who is young, who can be the standard bearer. That's just the truth. Flynn will be put in a position in the next Trump administration that does not require congressional approval. Okay. That would take too long, and we have too many liberals and rhinos that would delay that process unnecessarily. So Trump will assign him to a role that doesn't require that. And as I've mentioned this to Flynn, he always gives me a smirk when I say this. These are my words. I believe Flynn is going to be the Secretary of Accountability. Okay, that's my term. It's what I use. And Flynn said he likes it, but we'll see. I don't know if that's going to be the title, but for me and the purposes of what I think he's going to do, that's the title I use. Secretary of Accountability. I like the ring of that. So in that role, Flynn will be doing the following. First of all, obviously, given his background, he's going to gut, cleanse, and purge the Department of Justice, which obviously includes the FBI and the CIA. He's going to gather information, work in tandem with President Trump's attorney general, whoever that may be. Some are speculating that it may be Kash Patel, but whoever it is, Flynn will work in tandem with that person to go after and hold people accountable in the Department of Justice who have been, let's say, less than pro-America in what they have done in these last 4 to 8 years. Okay. And the attorney general, then, whoever it may be, whether it's Kash Patel or whoever, will begin to hold people accountable who were involved in Russiagate, people who were involved in the Steele dossier, Hunter's laptop. Don't forget that. Where is Hunter these days in the laptop case? These things just go dead. But Flynn and the new attorney general will bring them back to life, so to speak. What about the Biden crime family and the money laundering through Ukraine and so forth? Accountability for all of those things and more is coming. But Flynn gutting, cleansing, and purging the Department of Justice will be key among his objectives and assignments in the next Trump administration. Elon Musk is in the mix, yes, and actively so. He actively comments about this on his platform X. So similar to General Flynn, Musk will be given a position that does not require congressional approval. And he's going to begin to evaluate redundancies in people and positions and regulations within the federal bureaucracy. He's going to provide recommendations for eliminations of thousands of redundancies and hundreds of illegal and burdensome regulations that we face. And these people, these bureaucrats who are in unelected positions, have incredible control and power over us and over this republic, ladies and gentlemen. And it's, again, something that not many people know. Bureaucrats in an office somewhere in D.C. have the power of the pen to control policy, to control regulation that affect us. And that's got to end. And Elon Musk is going to be the one who helps eliminate that. Okay, next, Robert Kennedy Jr. That won't be the only thing Elon does, but that's the primary. I'll come back in a minute. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So Bobby Kennedy, unlike Flynn and unlike Elon Musk, Bobby Kennedy will be given a cabinet position in Trump's next position. He's in Trump's next administration. He's going to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now, this is a huge role and it caters right to the passions and the convictions of Bobby Kennedy. In that role, he's going to be in charge of the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Think about that. Bobby Kennedy Jr., in charge of the FDA and the CDC, Center for Disease Control, in charge of both of those organizations. Again, much like Flynn will do in the Department of Justice, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is going to gut, cleanse, and purge those organizations. And it will be beautiful to see, especially in the wake of what we've been through in the recent pandemic. He's also going to withdraw, and this is another important one, Bobby Kennedy Jr. will withdraw the United States from any connection with the World Health Organization. Important and much needed. Kennedy's going to go after Big Pharma in a lot of ways, not only in terms of accountability for what they did during the pandemic, but especially in terms of how they inflate prices and drive profits unnecessarily. We're capitalists. Making a profit is not evil. It's not a sin, but exorbitant profit at the price of health and safety is. And Kennedy is just the man for that job. He's going to be tasked to do it. Big Pharma held accountable. And then when you look at all three of those gentlemen, when you put them all three together, there are certain overlaps and cross sections and opportunities for them to work in tandem with one another. General Flynn, Elon Musk, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They're going to work together on a series of other projects. And this isn't all of them. I can't possibly mention all of these projects within the time frame of an hour with you people. But look, it's important to mention these things. One of the things they're going to work on together, these three gentlemen, is keeping the United States within NATO. Now, some of you out there don't like that. Right off the top, you're going, oh, no, wait, we got to get out of NATO. Hang on a minute. NATO can still serve a purpose, and it can still be very important. But these three guys, Flynn, Musk, and Kennedy are going to redraft new roles and responsibilities of all of the member nations to include financial accountability and back pay to the United States for the protections that it has provided over the years, picking up right where Trump left off when he was in office before. They'll call for a cessation, a stoppage to all new nation members into NATO, into this alliance, until they complete an audit of such things as to include why was Ukraine allowed to join the alliance? Because, as you know, that was the fuse that lit Putin's keg of powder, right? They let Ukraine in and Putin went ballistic, almost literally, right? He'd been saying Putin had for years, if you're going to start putting NATO nations on my border, I'm not going to put up with it. And so what did Biden and Harris do? That's exactly what they did. They poked Putin in the eye and made Ukraine and other nations along or near the Russian border members of the NATO alliance. And we need to reevaluate that, my friends. Trump, a master negotiator, could have gone in there with Zelensky and said, look, President Zelensky, we can have your back. We can protect you. But we cannot make you a member of NATO. Right? With Putin over here ready to act out, we're going to cause a war if we do that. Oh, and look what happens. Kamala Harris, who always brags about being the last person in the room when Administrator Biden makes important decisions, they put in effect the process by which NATO allows Ukraine to come in. And what happens? There's a war. And Trump would not have allowed it to happen. We could have accommodated Ukraine's sense of security simply by saying we've got your back. And now we're in this mess. So we have to audit those things, and they will. And they'll keep NATO in place, but there's got to be a new come to Jesus meeting, so to speak, with regards to what the roles and responsibilities are of member nations and what they owe the United States. All right. Secondly, after that, with the revamp, if you will, of the NATO alliance, Flynn, Musk, and Kennedy are going to work with President Trump to withdraw the United States from the United Nations. Now, that's a biggie. And you're going to see work on that begin within the first 100 days of Trump's presidency. I'm not saying it's going to be complete within 100 days, but they're going to be working on the methodology of making that happen. Now, that will excite a lot of people, and it will also scare a lot of people. But keep in mind, I think that's what based on what I've heard, what I've seen, and what I've been told, that's on the table. And those three gentlemen will be working in tandem to help make that happen with recommendations given to President Trump. The third thing, also these guys, the three gentlemen, Flynn, Musk, and Kennedy, working together to eliminate and to amend the following departments. First of all, the Department of Education. It's going to be eliminated. And the powers that were in that department are going to be returned to individual states. And that's as it should be. You see, folks, we've been accustomed to seeing the federal government be given too much of an overreach. The Founding Fathers and the Constitution never, in their wildest dreams, the Founding Fathers never imagined the federal government being in charge of something like the Department of Education, where they have overreach over the entire country. It's not intended, and it will be reversed. Individual states, right where the power needs to be for education. Point to me where education has been benefited from having it under federal control. All they ever do is fail tests and competencies and ask for a continual flow of money that never provides any statistical improvement. Return it to the states where we, the people, are in charge of our children's education. That's it. It's not only logical, it's the right thing to do. Second, the Department of Energy, be watchful for this, eliminated. And much like the Department of Education, the Department of Energy powers will be given back to the individual states. Powers that were never intended to be part of the federal government's purview. Department of Energy, gone. Third, another department, the Department of the Interior. Okay, this involves a lot of things that the Homeland Security Department does, also Parks and Recreation, the Department of Parks and Rec, all of that returned to the states. States can oversee their own energy, if there's a state that has a lot of oil or natural gas, the states can manage that, and the interior, safety, borders, immigration, all and more, all of that was handled by the Department of Interior, related back to the states, returned to the states as it was intended. All right, now when I come back, there's a lot of questions that all brings up. What about unemployment, people out of jobs, shutting down entire departments? I'm going to talk about that, but we've got to take another break. All right, I want to remind you, DougBillings.us before I go. DougBillings.us, very important. This is how I make a living, and it's how I bring you the show. I'm a one-man operation who's been canceled I don't get monetized on social media. So I try to bring you the truth and the state of play in America as I see it. The truth, what is it worth to you? I just ask that you prayerfully consider heading over to DougBillings.us and making a monthly recurring donation. Also, one more thing, Logan, let's open up the phone lines when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in on the conversation, 901-316-8404. 901-316-8404. We'll take as many calls as we can when we come back from the break. Stay with me. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access to over 20 years of my radio shows, TV shows, my books? I've written 15 books, and most of those books are ebooks now. And we have conference DVDs, conferences where we filmed our conferences at the Ozarks, literally starting 20 years ago. It's all available in our archives vault. All you have to do is go to worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and for a reasonable monthly fee, you gain access to over 20 years of Christian worldview programming, news, information, books, documentaries, and a powerful search engine. And folks, it's a great way not only to educate yourself, equip yourself, but it's a big way that you can help fund our continuation as a broadcast network. Please check it out. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and help us continue pushing out a Christian worldview. We live in uncertain times. In fact, we live at a time when our own governments all over the world are warning us that there could be big problems with our power grid. World War III seems to be right on the horizon. Let me ask you this. Do you have a satellite phone? Should communications go down with cell towers? Do you have a satellite phone to get a hold of that college student or your spouse who travels, whatever it might be, to get a hold of your senior adult parents? We have satellite phones at worldviewtalk.com, and you get the satellite phone for free when you sign up for their very reasonable payment programs for the service. Sign up for the service with a reasonable contract, get the satellite phone for free. Worldviewtalk.com. You'll also find they have, well, what I now have, which is a solar generator. Yeah, I have a gas generator, an LP propane generator, but what if that goes down? I want to back up to my backup. So I now have a solar generator as well. You'll find them at worldviewtalk.com. Check it out today, worldviewtalk.com.
Doug Billings, the shining light of truth and American exceptionalism.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. All right, we stand shoulder to shoulder. We always meet over here in determined prayer, determined patriotism. That's how we roll. I told you that we're going to go to some phone calls here, and we will. If you want to get involved in the time that we have remaining, 901-316-8404. 901-316-8404. Talk about Trump, sentencing date, his administration and what it might look like, the people involved and what were their roles and responsibilities be. All of the things that we've talked about today is fair game on the program. Looks like we've got Edwin down in Florida. Ed, welcome back to the right side. Good to hear from you.
Well, hi, Doug. I'm so excited to be on again. Talking about voting. I'm 78 years old, and I only missed one election when I was moving from California to Florida, and I was supposed to get a mail-in ballot. Never got it.
Edwin,
that, yes.
Let me ask you, who was the first president you voted for?
19. When was I 21?
If you don't have it committed to memory, that's fine, my friend. I just thought that was, I mean,
I don't. It's been a lot of years, 19 67 or 68 or something like that. Geez, it's a long time ago.
Okay.
Anyway, I did vote for all the presidents, and my vote was stolen from me in 2021 when I was moving from California to Florida. I confirmed that the ballot I never received in the mail had been used by whoever the machine is in California at that time. And then hopping along to the hot subject of appointees from President coming up, our president, Donald, Kennedy would be an excellent, my brain is going flat, Justice Department guy. What do they call that dude?
Oh, the Attorney General?
Attorney General. He's an attorney. He's been in the kinds of wars that
I think I agree with you. He is an attorney, and he would be great in that. I think that his passion is with health. That's his motto: "Make America healthy again." And he's got long.
I believe that fully, but I think he used a guy based on his talents more than his passion, because he can use the same thing to support this health issue that he wants to develop for the country from that position, because many of the things are going to have to be litigated at the highest levels. And with his passion, he'll get more things done than he would in that other position, in my mind. But I'm only 78 years old, and I've only got like 27 and a half years worth of government service and all that kind of stuff. But I get these senses, you know.
You bet. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying, I kind of go blank when I get on the phone and I haven't written any notes, because there's so many hot things you are talking about here tonight, and my mind is.
I think you're, Kennedy. What you say is well met. I mean, I understand. Yes, he would be good as Attorney General. I think that I still fall down on Secretary of Health and Human Services, because that's what he and Trump have talked about. And I think that he'll be able to use his talents as a lawyer when he goes after. Remember, as the Health and Human Service guy, he'll be in charge of the Food and Drug Administration and the Center for Disease Control, and two of the areas that he really wants to help hold accountability, and that we all need to see accountability. And he'll work in tandem with whoever the Attorney General may be. Have you ever heard of a gentleman named Kash Patel?
Oh, yes, and I think he'd be very good in the legal department, too, but I think he'd be better in Secretary of State, because he has an intimate knowledge of CIA and those guys from the positions he held under Trump before. And he knows of their dirty deals and how they get away with them. Yep. And he could put the brakes on it and turn some tables around. And the most corrupt high positions in the country are the State Department and the CIA working together as a powerful arm that destroys our civil rights. And
and the FBI.
Well, the FBI is in there, but they are not as big and powerful in my mind. So, like, the CIA has more money coming from more places than any of these places combined are getting it from tax money. It's just amazing how many crooked things they've got going to finance the illicit things they do to take our rights away.
Yep.
So,
good stuff.
The Communist Party and the Marxist Party that are now the owners of the Democrat Party are very happy with what's going on in those two departments right now.
No, that's good stuff, Ed. You've obviously thought about that quite a bit, and given your experience, I mean, that's all well met. I think you've got some really good comments and suggestions there. We'll see what happens. I like it. I like it a lot. And whoever eventually lands in these roles, I think that the swelling of ground support for accountability clearly will be on anyone's mind who takes these positions, and hopefully we'll begin to see some of that come true. So I always appreciate hearing from you, Ed.
What about presidents jailing?
Trump in jail. Yeah.
The last time I called, it's been a while since I talked to you. That was the subject. I was saying I truly believe that he will be sentenced and he will be jailed. And if you look at the communist playbook worldwide, whenever there's a political candidate that's doing a good job of running against whoever's in charge, seems that they all go to jail.
Yeah.
It seems none of them ever walk out of jail. They just something goes wrong. They just die.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a way to protect the president, and I hope someone comes up with something and tells me about it, because I'm praying for his life. That's my number one thing right now.
Well, amen. We all need to pray about that. Ed, I appreciate you very much. Thank you very much for calling. Take care down there in Florida.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So Ed brings up some good points, and the sentencing, again, it's going to happen, and we need to brace ourselves for that. I don't see Trump spending a lot of time, and by that I mean I would be surprised if he's in there for a few hours. But they want that visual. They want those words: convicted felon, sentenced criminal, like I said earlier in the show. So brace yourselves. And how we help Trump, obviously we pray. Obviously we turn that over to God. Yes, and I believe in all of that. But along with that, to help President Trump, we get involved in our local levels of government, ladies and gentlemen. We get involved in our county. Wherever we live, in whatever state in this republic you live, we get involved and we vote and we help other people do the same things, help other people get involved. It's really time to take a look at being a poll watcher, whether it's voluntary or paid, canvassing your neighborhoods to correct voter registration rolls. All of this, school boards, county commission, your board of county commissioners is very important. And your state legislatures, who is a senator, who's a congressman in your state. We begin to weed out the rhinos and the liberals and put people in charge of the state, because that's where the power is going to be coming back to soon under President Trump, the states. And we want our states to be true conservative, MAGA, America First states. That's the key to victory, and that's how we do how we give the most help to President Trump, by our involvement. Prayer, of course, yes, but our involvement with our actions and our efforts. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. Hope you had, again, a great Labor Day weekend. We're back in the swing of things. I'll see you tomorrow. Before we go, remember, again, DougBillings.us. Please, we're in a membership drive, a sponsorship drive. I'm asking you to please be a monthly recurring sponsor to this program. And you can do that at DougBillings.us. I am a one-man operation, and I am people-funded. So it's much like the show The Chosen. Remember The Chosen? A great show, by the way. People-funded. And I am in the same position. Canceled off of social media, not monetized over there. This is how I make it all happen for myself and for the program. DougBillings.us. We are in a subscriber and sponsorship drive. Please consider 5, 10, 20. If you can do more, thank you. Recurring monthly donations at DougBillings.us. The show is always free. Just prayerfully consider what the truth is worth to you. Please also don't forget to check out the great lineup they've got at worldviewtube.com, Spreely TV, and so forth over there as well. Great lineups and a great team. Special thanks to the producers, Logan and Reagan, and everyone on the Worldview Tube team. And I will be back with you tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it, for the Republic. Cheers.